She sat in that courtroom as if it belonged to her, laughing, smirking, pulling faces at the judge, as though everything happening around her were some kind of sick joke. This 25-year-old woman behaved like a rock star who had just stepped off a stage, not like someone on trial for one of the most heinous crimes in the history of Wisconsin. She openly mocked the court. There was not a trace of remorse or awareness of the gravity of the moment in her behavior. She tried to convince everyone around her that she had lost her mind, determined to turn a tragedy into farce. She played every card she could think of to avoid prison. It was all a carefully staged performance, what she believed was her only sure way to make it back home. But then came the moment that shattered the illusion and wiped the smile off her face. This is the chilling case of Taylor Schabusiness, a woman who believed she could pretend to be insane in order to conceal a brutal murder. The crime was so disturbing that it left the entire local community in a state of profound shock and horror. Embrace yourself, because you are about to hear her own words. This is Taylor Schabusiness, and this is the story of how her defiant behavior in court turned an unspeakable atrocity into one of the most shocking legal moments in modern history. When police first encountered Taylor, her reaction was frighteningly ordinary. In her conversations with officers, she showed a strange detachment, discussing the details of the crime as if she were talking about mundane household matters.
You ever love something so much that you kill it? Like, it happens to me. That's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much and then I kill it. That's what happens to me.
To understand the full scale of what unfolded in the Green Bay courtroom, it is necessary to trace the winding and dark path that led Taylor to that point. She was born in Chicago into what initially appeared to be a loving and stable family. However, when Taylor was only 11 years old, her world was struck by a devastating blow. Her mother, Marla, unexpectedly died in her sleep. Her father discovered his wife cold beside him in bed, while the children slept upstairs, unaware that their familiar life had just collapsed.
They were pretty young. I mean, obviously, their mom's not around anymore.
After this loss, the family moved to Green Bay, where Taylor's behavior began to rapidly deteriorate. Problems at school emerged, along with outbursts of aggression and minor incidents. To those around her, it looked like typical teenage rebellion triggered by trauma. But in reality, these were warning signs of something far more sinister taking shape. By the age of 16, her father was so concerned that he sent her to live with her grandparents in Texas. For a time, the decision seemed to work. Taylor graduated from high school and appeared to regain some stability. For a brief moment, hope flickered again in the hearts of her family. When Taylor returned to Wisconsin as an adult, she initially seemed to be doing well. She landed a job at the Saputo cheese plant, working the third shift for 3.5 years. She earned decent money and paid for her own apartment. Her father felt proud. The troubled teenager appeared to have grown into a functioning, independent member of society. Everything changed when Warren Schabusiness, Taylor's ex-husband, was released from prison. He was the one who introduced her to methamphetamine, sending her life into an uncontrollable and catastrophic downward spiral. According to later testimony from her father, the transformation was immediate and deeply alarming.
Yeah, and she was doing really well there too, until her boyfriend/husband got out of jail. That turned everything upside down.
Yeah, in part because of the methamphetamine use, right?
Yep. Meth, heroin, whatever else. I don't know.
Marijuana?
I don't know. The kid was already doing that shit before and just a fucking loser, and he got my daughter involved in that shit.
But there was something even more disturbing beneath the surface of this story. Taylor's problems went far beyond ordinary drug addiction. Court records revealed that as early as the age of 14, she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and psychosis. There had been numerous hospitalizations and a consistent refusal to take prescribed medication, a pattern that would become key to understanding everything that followed. By February of 2022, Taylor was living a chaotic existence. She wore an electronic ankle monitor tracking her movements due to prior charges. She stayed with acquaintances, including Scott Toms, constantly moving from place to place. This unstable lifestyle was about to collide with a figure from her past in the most horrifying way imaginable. Shad Thyrian was 24 years old. Taylor had known him since middle school. Over the years, They drifted in and out of a relationship, sometimes just friends, sometimes intimate. Shad struggled with his own mental health issues, but he was deeply loved by his family, especially his mother, Tara. February 21st began like countless other nights in their circle. Taylor was at Scott's apartment when their mutual friend, AJ, called and suggested getting together. The three decided to pick up Shad. They drove Scott's minivan to Shad's father's house, picked him up, and then made a stop that sealed the night's fate, the purchase of methamphetamine. Around midnight, the atmosphere shifted. Taylor and Shad decided to leave together and headed to his mother's house on Stony Brook Lane. AJ chose to stay behind, a decision that most likely saved his life. What happened in the basement of Tara, Thyrian's home, stunned investigators around the world. The house was quiet when the pair arrived. Tara was asleep upstairs with her partner, unaware that her son had just entered the home with his killer. The basement door was unlocked, a detail that would later take on grim significance in light of what Taylor did next. Investigators quickly determined that this was not an accidental death during rough. Taylor's own admissions revealed something far more deliberate and dark. While Taylor was carrying out her plans on the east side of Green Bay, Tara Thyrian woke with a growing sense of dread. Shad was not answering his phone, and a strange odor was spreading through the house. When Tara entered the basement bathroom, she noticed a bucket that had never been there before. The call she made to 911 became one of the most horrifying recordings in the history of the local police department. As forensic teams worked the crime scene, Taylor still had no idea that her world was collapsing. She did not know that police had discovered the basement or linked her to Shad. She believed she still had time. Within hours, investigators identified Scott's van and obtained Taylor's address. Surveillance cameras captured the moment officers arrived at the apartment complex on Eastman Avenue in the early morning hours of February 23rd.
Nothing. Hey. Is this blood? Does this look like blood to you? Or am I just tripping? Bloody footprint? You see this right here?
Could possibly be blood.
No footprints on the passenger side.
Hey, who did that?
Hi.
Hi, Taylor. How's it going? Officer Russell with the Green Bay Police Department.
Take your hand out of your pocket, please. Thank you.
Just make sure you ain't got nothing on you here. With Taylor.
Contact you, Taylor.
Taylor, you have a warrant for your arrest. Just put your hands behind your back quick.
Anybody else in your apartment?
You got blood on your hands here too.
No, on your hands.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna have to.
What apartment is you in?
What apartment are you in?
Do we have Adam 3 come up?
Hey, custom, yeah, get up here.
On the double.
Which apartment?
One, there's what they came back to.
Yeah. Yeah, go. Guys, hurry up and get here now.
Guys, there's a window right to your right.
Watch this window right here. Gun point.
This bad.
Go in here. Come to the back of the apartment. That's where we are. You, come over here. 2 more will be fine. If 84 is here,
Hands up!
they have contact with the mail.
Hands up! Walk out towards me.
Have a seat.
All the traffic. Come out towards me. Get on the ground.
Who else is in the apartment? Be straight up. Tomes?
Hands up.
Who else? Just Tomes? Is he armed?
Do it now.
Nobody's armed?
Nobody's armed.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Green Bay Police! If anybody's in here, announce yourself now!
No, there's nobody in there.
Go ahead. Negative, we got enough here.
The evidence was overwhelming. Blood on her hands and clothing spoke for itself, but her behavior in the patrol car offered the first hint that this was either total madness or cold calculation. Taylor laughed and made bizarre comments. At one point, she mentioned Kyle Rittenhouse. That remark suggested she was already thinking about legal strategy. The question that would define the entire case emerged. Was this genuine mental illness or a carefully crafted act? At the police station, Taylor was read her rights, and she agreed to speak. What followed became one of the most detailed and shocking confessions in the history of criminal investigations. This quote about loving someone to death became one of the most chilling statements ever recorded in Wisconsin.
You ever love something so much that you kill it? Like it happens to me, that's the feeling that I have. I love something so much that I kill it. Like, I love it so much and then I kill it. That's what happens to me.
Taylor was charged with first-degree intentional homicide. She faced life in prison. Her plan was to convince everyone she was insane. From the first moments in court, she behaved theatrically, smiling at inappropriate times, making faces at the cameras. But the evidence pointed to performance, not psychosis. Before jury selection, cameras captured Taylor aiming finger guns at Judge Thomas Walsh. Later, she flipped him off. This was not psychosis. It was a challenge to the system. But the most shocking moment was still to come. On July 11, 2023, she lunged at her own attorney. Video shows her leaping over the table, attacking the person who was trying to help her. He was not her first lawyer. Many had withdrawn from the case due to her aggression. When asked about it, she blamed the attorneys. She insisted she was competent, while simultaneously claiming insanity. That contradiction proved fatal to her defense. You cannot be both competent and legally insane. The trial began on July 24, 2023. The prosecution's case was straightforward: premeditated murder. The defense argued severe mental illness. Prosecutors presented arrest footage, the confession, and graphic photographs that caused jurors to look away. The most powerful evidence was Taylor's own voice. When AJ described Shad's final hours, Taylor smiled. The prosecution used that against her. Another expert, Matthew Seipel, suggested possible incompetence but noted her refusal to cooperate and the likelihood that she was exaggerating symptoms for personal gain.
And did you notice anything odd about Taylor as far as her mannerisms, her eyes, her speech, anything like that?
No.
Did you have any feelings that she was acting weird when you had contact with her? Bizarre.
Her behavior shifted depending on the audience. The turning point came with a video from 2023 in which Taylor recited her version of events like a poem, flat, detached, without emotion. It was a calculated narrative devoid of remorse. The jury did not deliberate for long.
It's really, really unusual. And I searched my own 32-year memory bank here. And it's exceptionally unusual, very unusual. She's been described as smirky. Smirky. She has inappropriate, her grinning, weird grinning when she's talking about the crimes. People have interpreted it to be like laughing at what she did. At times, in the jail, with evaluators, with me, at times, briefly, it's very strange. Other times looking, I can mimic it, very scowly. A lot of people interpret it superficially to be grinning. Grinning it all, but getting a kick out of everything. Not me. Based on my experience and training, that's a psychotic person right there. That's what's causing this really weird, bizarre, and I'm telling you.
Taylor showed no emotion, no tears, just an empty stare. The law required a second phase of the trial to determine sanity. The jurors again heard from experts. The verdict was unanimous: no. Taylor Schabusiness was sane. She knew what she was doing was wrong, and she did it anyway. At that moment, her facade collapsed. The smile vanished. Life in prison became real. As she was led away, she whispered something toward the cameras, either curses or threats.
As follows, we, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information, dated this date, July 26, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The second verdict reads as follows. We, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty, dated this date, July 26, 2023, signed by the foreperson. The next verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, guilty of third-degree sexual assault as charged in count 3 of the information, dated this date, 26th day of July, 2023, signed by the foreperson.
The sentence was life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Taylor sat in stony silence. Even behind bars, she remains defiant, continuing to insist on insanity. She is more upset about being caught than about Shad's death. She is preparing appeals. I voluntarily waive the no-merit appeal and extend the time to file a post-conviction motion. In October of 2024, she is scheduled to face another trial for assaulting a correctional officer. Investigators also uncovered her online searches about Jeffrey Dahmer. She denies any similarity, saying she killed only one person. The most terrifying part of this case is not just what she did to Shad. It is what she represents, a type of offender who turns the courtroom into a stage and uses illness as a shield. Taylor made her choice. The jury saw the truth.
So I have to consider the gravity of the offense, the character of the defendant, the need to protect the public, as well as other aggravating and mitigating circumstances, including rehabilitative needs and punishment and deterrence, and then craft a sentence in each case that's appropriate. The defendant's character, I can say that over the course of this case, I've learned a great deal about you, Ms. Schabusiness. First of all, you were born in Chicago, lived there until you were about age 10, or 12 rather. You seem to have had a stable childhood. You were loved by your mother and your father and your brother. And unfortunately, your mother passed away when you were 12, your brother passed away in a vehicle accident, and your dad's incarcerated. The list of superlatives don't seem to measure up to what you see and what you hear about, and what we heard about in the trial. This crime offends human decency, it offends human dignity, and it offends the human community. It really does.
Even now, she continues to fight for her innocence. Her mask slipped only at the moment to you than you think. Light. It turned out that Taylor had developed an obsession with the figure of Jeffrey Dahmer. She searched for information about him, studied his crimes, and analyzed his methods, stating that while he killed many, she had killed only one, but claimed she did it with soul. That statement alone revealed more about her mindset than any psychiatric evaluation ever could. The most terrifying aspect of the Taylor Schabusiness case is not limited to the murder of Shad Thyrian itself. What truly sets this case apart is what Taylor represents. She became the embodiment of a new category of offenders, individuals who treat the courtroom not as a place of accountability, but as a stage. For her, the legal process was not about truth or justice. It was a performance. Mental illness, whether real or exaggerated, was not presented as suffering, but weaponized as a shield. Taylor made her choice that night in the basement. It was not impulsive in the way her defense wanted the world to believe. It was deliberate, sustained, and followed by attempts at control of the narrative. And the jury in Green Bay made their own choice when they rejected the act and refused to confuse theatrical chaos with legal insanity. Justice prevailed in the legal sense. But the cost of that truth is immeasurable. No sentence can undo that trauma. The courtroom may close, but the suffering does not. Even now, sitting alone in a prison cell, Taylor continues to insist on her difference, her uniqueness, her supposed complexity. But history will not remember her as a misunderstood individual or a tragic psychiatric case. She will be remembered as a woman whose mask slipped only when the prison doors closed behind her for good. In that moment, the performance ended, and what remained was something empty, calculated, and deeply unsettling. The story of Taylor Schabusiness is a grim reminder that evil does not always look monstrous. Sometimes it smiles, sometimes it jokes, sometimes it mocks authority and pretends nothing is real. But behind that performance is always a void, one that no attention, no notoriety, and no courtroom theatrics can ever fill. If you want to understand how perception can be manipulated, how violence can hide behind laughter, and how the justice system separates illness from accountability, this case matters. And there are more stories like this, stories that challenge what we think we know about crime, responsibility, and human behavior. If you found this analysis important, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and watch the next video.